WMAL, Washington mornings on the Mall. At AM 630.
637 on WMAL. It's the place where Washington comes to talk. I'm Brian Wilson. He's Brian Neiman. This is Brian and Brian in the morning. We want to be joined now by Dan Bongino. Now, Dan is running for the U.S. Senate as a Republican in the state of Maryland against Ben Cardin. But that's not what we want to talk to him about, because he's also a former Secret Service agent. A man who has been on the protective duty of presidents. Right. And so we thought, given this scandal that has gone on with a bunch of Secret Service guys being recalled from Cartagena and an investigation now underway, that we might turn to him to get some understanding of what he thinks about all this. Dan, first of all, 11 guys, and a couple of them were supervisors. Have you heard the names of any of the people, and do you know any of them?
I do, very, very well. I have personal relationships with, very personal with a couple of them, and I know just about everyone involved at some level. The people doing the investigation, the people being investigated, the people providing information, and it's devastating, Brian. It really is, to me personally and professionally.
Well, tell me the kind of people that were involved in this. I mean, this was an advanced team, so what kind of folks would normally be in an advanced team?
Well, it actually wasn't the advanced team. It was support personnel. The advanced team, to this point, there are, as far as I know, no members of the advanced team that were sent home. That would be damaging, because they have all the logistical information on the security planning. So it was support personnel. You know, I know them to be, and I'm not absolving anyone of their horrendous decision making, please, but I know them to be good guys who made, frankly, an awful decision, and they're paying for it now badly, and they'll continue to.
When you say their support staff, so what would they be doing? What would their jobs be over there?
Well, you know, the Secret Service has counter snipers, counter assault team like the SWAT team. We have K-9 personnel. There's a number of units, explosives detection, and it was members like that. Without getting into exactly who they were. Until the Secret Service is prepared to say who they were. I'd rather not say their individual names or roles and make them away.
Sure.
But they're really being beat up now. I've had a conversation with one of their parents, actually, who is just hasn't eaten in a couple of days, Brian. They're devastated over this.
As it
should be.
Is it possible that there's been a rush to judgment on this, or do we think that these things actually happened? I mean, if you know these guys, do we think what they are accused of doing did actually take place?
Well, I know some of them have been brought back, not because they were accused of being involved with any prostitutes, but because they were there and may have signed someone into the room. It doesn't necessarily mean that person was a prostitute.
Okay.
It's really an awful conversation to be having. Either way, again, it doesn't make it right. But it looks to be that a lot of them have admitted to some type of behavior like this, so it doesn't look like it's in question at this point.
All right. I guess the next question is why. Do you have any idea? I mean, what was it? Was there a mob mentality to this? This is, a group of guys got together and made a poor decision on one night, or is there a pattern to this? I know that I think it was Darrell Issa who said the other day that we're looking into this mainly to figure out, have there been other instances, because he doubted that the first time they got caught was the first time that this actually happened.
Yeah, and I know, Brian, you'll probably say, well, of course, it's in everybody's interest. If they were former Secret Service agents, say, oh, this never happened when I was around. But yeah. I can honestly tell you that, yes, of course, there were indiscretions on the road. There were people who had gotten intoxicated, did stupid things, and they were always dealt with rather harshly, especially on advances I conducted. I mean, I remember having a hotel room conversation with a guy who had acted inappropriately, who didn't handle it well, and that was it. He was done. That was the end of him on the trip, and that's the way it was, and this is not indicative at all. I mean, Secret Service. You guys have been in D.C. longer than I have. This is not viewed in totality how these guys are or how they act, and I think this is an abhorrent activity, and it's a shame. It really ruins it for everyone, all the guys who sacrificed so much.
You know that stuff flows downhill. Mark Sullivan, who's the director of the Secret Service, does he have any blame in this? Do you think that he has the confidence of the president, number one? And number two, does he have the confidence of the rest of the agents in here? Can he survive this? Should he survive it?
Well, I think right now he's saying all the right things. The agency is embarrassed, number one. They apologize. number two. And three, most importantly, they're taking responsibility. There's been no effort whatsoever for them to color this any way other than this is a complete, total disgrace. And they have been out front of it. They shipped them home immediately. The investigation's been thorough from what I've seen. And I know these guys very personally. I want to be clear on that. It has been it's been harsh, and it's been one of those turn in your equipment and we'll talk later deals. So I don't think the director really could have done anything different on it up to this point.
All right, so you said you knew of a case where you had to have a pretty strict conversation with a guy, and you basically said, you're done, get out of here, go back home. In this case, 11 people have been brought home, but is it more than that? Is it like, this is it? This is the end of their careers, right?
Well, without a doubt. I mean, even the ones that do survive this, who may have just been accessories to it, but not necessarily on the prostitution angle, yeah, it's over. I mean, just think about the embarrassment, right? I mean, put yourself in their shoes, even at the station. Imagine walking in with this scarlet letter on your head. I mean, it's over for you. Your friends are probably not your friends anymore on the job. Your families, your neighbors. I mean, this can't get any worse. This isn't an allegation a guy was drunk off duty we're talking about. Mm-hmm. I mean, these are devastating allegations.
All right, Dan, it's great to have you on, former Secret Service. Hey, by the way, and you're running for Senate against Ben Cardin. When last time we had you on, I asked you if you would do a debate with Ben Cardin. You agreed. We have reached out to the Cardin campaign, and they say they will get back to us.